Hello and welcome to our video series on the resurrection of Jesus. In today's segment, we're going to look at the third of 5 facts concerning the resurrection of Jesus. So fact number 3. On the Sunday following his crucifixion, Jesus' tomb was found empty by some of his women followers. Why do most scholars believe this to be true? Firstly, the empty tomb narrative is also part of the old Passion source used by Mark. The Passion source used by Mark did not end in the suffering and death of Jesus, but with the empty tomb narrative, which is one single continuous narrative with the burial story. Secondly, the empty tomb is implied by the early creed found in Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 4 reads, quote, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day in accordance with the scriptures, end quote. For any first century Jew, to say that a dead person was buried and was raised is to imply that an empty grave was left behind. Thirdly, the empty tomb narrative is simple, straightforward, and contains no traits of fabrication. All one has to do to recognize this point is to compare Mark's account with the legendary embellishments found in some of the 2nd century apocryphal Gospels, in which Jesus is seen coming out of the tomb with his head reaching up above the clouds and followed by talking cross. This is also the reason why the empty tomb narrative is very early. Fourthly, the empty tomb narrative passes the criterion of embarrassment because it has female, not male witnesses. The fact that women's testimony was discounted in 1st century Jewish context is a positive reason to believe in the empty tomb narrative. According to Josephus, a Jewish historian, the testimony of women was regarded as so worthless that it could not even be admitted into a Jewish court of law. Any later legendary story would certainly have had male disciples discover the empty tomb. Finally, the empty tomb narrative passes the criterion of enemy attestation, since it is reported by the Jewish leaders. The earliest Jewish allegation that the disciples had stolen Jesus' body, as we see in Matthew chapter 28 verse 15, shows that the body was in fact missing from the tomb. The earliest Jewish response to the disciples' proclamation of the resurrection of Jesus was not to point to his occupied tomb, but to claim that they had taken away Jesus' body. Thus we have evidence of the empty tomb from the very enemies of the early Christians. For these reasons and perhaps several others, the empty tomb is considered by several scholars to be a historical fact. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless you.